Welcome back to another episode of Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast. I am your host, Nerdpool Prime. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to talk about what I believe should be the Book of the Year candidate for most people. It should be on everyone's pull list. Everyone should be reading it. It is the Source Point Press title, Good Boy. Now, if you're a fan of my podcast and you've listened to it, you know that I've been talking about this book for a long time. And there's good reason for that. It is a fantastic book, and I actually just finished reading issue 3 shortly before taping this episode, and it honestly was the best issue, and it was crazy because I remember reading issue 2 going, holy crap, that was amazing. Issue 3 blew that out the water. And I actually interviewed both Garret and Dr. Christy Blanch on my podcast, on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked that out yet, go on my YouTube channel. It's same name, Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast. So you can see that interview. Also, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff for the algorithm. Help me out a little bit. It means a lot to every single subscriber. I love you all. Any follower, you all are what fuels this. I mean, like I've said many times in this podcast, I will keep doing this regardless of how many listeners I have. But it does help. It gives me even more motivation. Like last week, I was like, I don't have that many listeners. I have too much stuff to do. I can't do the podcast. I'm just going to do a podcast next week. Now, if I had more listeners, I probably wouldn't feel that way. I don't want to let people down. That's what I've done most of my life, and I try not to do that anymore. But now, speaking of Good Boy, like I said, now the first volume was the first 3 issues, which are all released and out as of now. And you can get them online, sourcepointpress.com. You can get the digital if you haven't already read it or don't have many copies like I do. I at this point, I have like almost a whole short box full of Good Boys, and I've been selling a whole bunch of them on my Whatnot shows. Also, Nerdtooine, just take a look if you want to get some great comics. I've got some great things in the works. So that's going to be big. Now, back to Good Boy. They just actually started today, if I'm not mistaken. I think today was the first day of the Good Boy World Tour. Dr. Christy Blanch, Garret Gunn, and Kit Wallis, if I'm not mistaken, is also going to be with them. And they are going to comic book shops that like dove in on the Kickstarter for issue 1. And they're going signing. They're releasing second print foils, which, oh my God, I have to find a way to get my hands on them because I'm such a fan of the title. So for those of you who don't know, Good Boy is basically like a reverse John Wick. It's a love letter to John Wick. And it's basically, so think about John Wick. Instead of the dog dying, the human died. And the dog goes on a vengeance-filled, murderous rampage. Sounds amazing, right? Because it is. Now, Good Boy is not a carbon copy of John Wick with just a dog as the main character. It's not that. Now, there are definite similarities, and you can tell that they love the source material, and certain scenes that you love from the movies will show up in the book and done very tastefully. Again, they're not ripping off John Wick. They are doing an homage, a love letter to it in their own way for their own story, and it's absolutely fantastic. I just can't say enough about how good this book is. When you're reading it, you don't want to stop. Each page just makes you turn it more and more, and it's going so fast. Like I actually read it because I have obviously a whole bunch of issue 3s. Currently, I've got signed ones, I've got exclusives. I mean, I've got tons of them. But I don't want to damage my comics, so I read it digitally just now, and I was flipping through so fast trying to get to the next page that my Kindle app could not handle it, and it kept jumping me back to the beginning of the book. And you know what I did? I read it again through the whole time because it's that good. What Garret and Dr. Christy have been able to do, they tell this story that, you think oh, it's John Wick, I'm gonna know what's gonna happen. You don't. Like, it's its own story, and I've loved every bit of it. Flint is a very intriguing character. He's the artwork from Kit. Oh my God, it is just like, it's so beautiful. While there's all these great like murders being done, and it's just a truly fantastic read. If you're not reading it, I truly suggest you do. It is as of right now, for sure, my Nerdtooine nominee for Book of the Year. I can't say enough. It has, and I believe it has a lot of room to grow. I really feel like this book has the ability to get optioned into an animated spinoff, like an animated movie or series. And I think the proof is in the pudding. You look at it, you go, oh, John Wick did great. This is a retelling of sorts of it. That's marketable. So the ability for these books to even skyrocket, because could you imagine if Good Boy went through the Stray Dog explosion once it was announced that it was getting optioned by Paramount? There were books that were literally $10 books going for $50, $60, $70, $80 because it blew up. And that's, I talked about this on my podcast before. The spec game has exploded. It's gone almost out of control. And I'm not gonna lie, I've profited off of that. My knowledge has allowed me to be able to get ahead of most of the spec. And the only 9 times out of 10, if I don't get in on the spec, is because I either thought I could get a little bit later or I didn't believe in it. Like when everyone was losing their mind over Madam Web when they announced the casting, I'm like, I'm sorry. So you're telling me that a young, attractive actress is going to play an old lady? No. I'm sorry. It's going to be the second Madam Web, who was a former Spider-Girl. She looks the part. So everyone who's jumping on that first appearance of Madam Web and spending all this money, I think they're going to be sorely upset. Same thing with the Theilluminati. I don't believe that the Illuminati is what they're going to call that council, whatever it is, in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. I don't believe that. I don't. I feel like Marvel and Disney are going to shy away from using the term Illuminati. I would bet you they'd be called the Defenders. So, that being said, the spec market has erupted. And I'm specking, and I have been specking hard on Good Boy because, one, I trust my dear friends. When Duffy Boys Comics first told me about this book, months before it blew up, I was just taken aback. I was like, I have to sign me up. I all of it. I want all of it, and I dove in. I even was able to partner with Duffy to get some of the his exclusives and sell them because I loved the content so much that I was willing to buy in on a much bigger level than I have on almost any independent or Marvel or DC title. It just speaks to me. I feel like the writing is fantastic. The art is unbelievable. And like the fight scenes, I'm not going to give too much away. I want you to read it and experience it for yourself. But there was one scene where Flint took out a pair of knives and it said "snicked." I was like, "Oh, a little call out to Wolverine," and that's the thing. Both Garret and Dr. Christy are true fans of comic books. They're not just people writing stories because they want to make money. They're writing stories because they want to tell good stories. And it shows in their work. And both Garret and Dr. Christy have a lot of things in the work. Christmas Caroline, Little Red Sonja, wait, what is it? Wow, I feel stupid right now. Is it Little Red Sonja? No, it can't be Sonja. Little Red Ronin. Wow. Sorry. If you guys knew how many hours of sleep I get a night, you'd understand why I make mistakes like that sometimes. Little Red Ronin, among other titles such as Postmasters. Oh my God, Postmasters was an amazing read. It was it gave this manga old West samurai, old East samurai. But no, yeah, it almost was like an old gunslinger meets samurai type deal. And post-apocalyptic world where the male is the most important thing. It was truly epic. Every single thing that they write or collaborate on, for that matter, are just some of the best books I've read, and I can't wait to see what happens moving forward. Volume 2, the Kickstarter is live. If you are not already backing the project, I suggest not only to help a independent artist and writers and creators for a indie press company do well, do it for yourself. At the very least, if you get on the Kickstarter now, you can flip the comics that you get from the Kickstarter. Excuse me. And more than likely, you won't want to. I mean, me personally, I'll admit I have a whole bunch of Volume 2 pre-ordered. Some of the exclusives I've got coming in. And I made sure to order a couple so I could keep one for my damn self. Yes, I did. I don't do that with all titles. I've made it very clear on my podcast and everywhere else that I sell comic books on Whatnot, and I have a couple exclusives on the way. Possibly for even a title I've already mentioned. But I digress. The ability to sell comic books is truly, it's an honor that I never thought I would have. When I was collecting all my years, I was always like, I will never sell any of my books. I buy them because I want them. And now here I am, not only selling personal books that I have, but also literally buying books specifically to sell. And it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Right now, I have a lot of projects in the works. I have my first original comic in with my artist right now, putting together an ash can so that I can start pitching it places. And I had to let go of some books I didn't want to. I invested in the James Tinian's Tiny Onion. I had a founder's level House of Slaughter. We don't even know how limited the print is. He couldn't even give us that. He doesn't know. And a $200, $300 book, I didn't sell it for that much, but I made money off it so that it's going to go towards one of my exclusives or to fund my comic, because I'm not going to put it on Kickstarter when I'm only at the ash can level. So it's been an interesting ride. I'll say that for sure. And I don't regret any of it. And I'm amazed at what I've been able to accomplish in the last year. And honestly, a lot of it is because I buy into the spec when I believe in titles. And Good Boy is one of the titles I believe in. And I know that was a really long walk around to get a short drink of water. But Good Boy is just such a great book, and I hope that everyone reads it, because you will not be disappointed. I feel like because certain people in the industry may not be saying, go get this, that people are shying away from it in certain arenas, let's say. And that's their prerogative. You want to bash or not promote something that's amazing, that's on you. I can't be upset at that. You choose what you want to support, as do I. And Good Boy is what I support. Dr. Christy Blanch, Garret Gunn. I mean, if they're involved, I'm in. Simple as that. It's getting to the point. There's, if you're a comic collector, there's certain artists or certain writers that you will either give a chance or just support immediately. I know me personally, Theilluminati covers, I know I want them. I don't have to see what they look like. I'm just going to, I've told him, I've interviewed Javan Jordan, Theilluminati, on my podcast as well, also on the YouTube channel. And I told him, I'm like, bro, I would literally buy your covers blank. Like, you could say, Theilluminati, this title, you don't get to know what it is until it reaches your house. Do you want it? Sign me up. Without hesitation. It's the same way for me with writers. Like James Tynion, if he puts something together, I'm at least going to be interested enough to pick it up. Simple as that. And I'm the same way with Dr. Christy Blanch and Garret Gunn and Kit. I mean, the artwork he's been able to do is just absolutely phenomenal. The fight scenes are just absolutely stunning. And, if you want to know more about the creation of Good Boy, like I said, take a look at my YouTube channel. I did an interview with both Garret Gunn and Dr. Christy Blanch. We had a blast. It was one of my favorite interviews, favorite things I've been able to do since starting this podcast a little bit over a year ago at this point. But yeah, so Good Boy Kickstarter. If you don't know, you just go on Kickstarter, type in Good Boy Volume 2, or you can go to, I think it's goodboy.com if I'm not mistaken. If not, you can always check out my page. There's always a way to get to it, or check out the Good Doctors page or Garret Gunn. They always have the updates there. I mean, granted, I knew about it and I had forgotten, and then they posted, and I was like, "Oh, I'm there!" Boom, went right on Kickstarter, backed it, and I honestly wish I would have backed it more, and I might still. As long as it's live, I think I might still add more. I mean, I have. There has not been a single time buying a Good Boy book that I've ever worried about either wanting it or being able to sell it, because it's that good. So I may just go invest a little more. But I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and I have some announcements to make. Stay tuned.
This episode is sponsored by DuffyBoysComics.com. Now available Christmas Caroline exclusive from SourcePoint Press and Duffy Boys Comics.
Welcome back. So, I have a big announcement. Coming soon, back again, Jason Douglas, the critically acclaimed and Ringo Award nominee and creator and writer of Parallel. He has some big news and some amazing things on the way. So it seems only fair and right to bring him back on the podcast. So for those of you who don't know, Jason was actually the first person I ever interviewed when I decided to become this person that I am before you, Nerdpool Prime. I was writing for the Cultured Nerd, and I heard about his title, and I reached out and was like, hey, can I interview you? And he, of course, being the amazing person that he is, was like, absolutely, let's do this. So I interviewed him first via email for the Cultured Nerd, and then I left the Cultured Nerd and decided to branch it on my own, creating Nerdtooine and a movie podcast. In doing so, I actually brought him back on for a live interview. It was recorded live. It wasn't aired live. And he happened to be the very second interview that I ever did on my podcast. The first one was Darnell from the Advanced Genetics comic book, which I've got some big news about that too, but I'm not going to release that until all the details are ironed out. But Jason was actually the first interview that I did on camera. So if you go back and watch it, it's on my YouTube channel. It's god-awful. The positioning of the camera, it was never meant to be seen. And then for some reason, I had it in my head that I was going to do it anyways. So I showed it. I literally did the interview via Zoom because I didn't have any other option at that point because I wasn't on the StreamYard yet or really knew what the hell I was doing. So Jason will be coming back on the podcast. I'm not sure exactly when. It will probably, I'm hoping, same day this episode is released. I am recording this right now. It is Saturday night where I'm at, and this will release Sunday morning. I'm hoping to be able to get in touch with them and work something out for Sunday afternoon to go live on my YouTube channel. If not, it'll be very soon. I also have to announce that next weekend, I may not have a true episode per se. I'm going to be going live a lot on my YouTube channel, my Instagrams, and things of that nature, TikTok, because I'm going to be at Collecticon in Orlando. So I'm going to live stream, and at least as much as I'm able to with the service. I might have to record it and then load it later. My experience at Collecticon. Hopefully I'll be able to get to interact with certain people that I've been excited to see. I've not been to a con of this size. It is more of a card and collector type show, pop figures, more so than comic books. But when I heard that the Ninja Turtles were going to be there and Vanilla Ice was going to be there, my childhood literally reached out from back in the day, tapped me on the shoulder and said, your ass better be there. So my ass will be there. I made sure I even have VIP, so I'll be up in the front so I can actually see the damn concert because I'm tiny. And I'm not sitting on the Dungeon Master's freaking shoulders. For those who don't know, Dungeon Master is quite tall. And I'm also, and I hope the mask gets here in time. If not, I'll just get a random old school goalie mask. But I'm going to cosplay as the smallest Casey Jones of all time. So I'm be up in the front, I'm praying to the nerd gods, praying to the Force, hoping that the Ninja Turtles come on stage and Vanilla Ice is doing his thing and they're doing go Ninja, go. And he looks down and sees the tiniest Casey Jones he's ever seen and pulls me up on stage. You know what's hilarious and what's funny is that I can literally laugh at the thought of being seen as the smallest Casey Jones of all time. Most people of my stature would be like, oh my God, I'm short. I don't give a shit anymore. Pardon my language. Not that this podcast has ever been, let's just say PG. But yeah, so make sure you're following my YouTube channel because obviously most of the places where you might listen to this might be Spotify, iHeartRadio. I guess I gotta reapply to Apple because I ain't heard nothing back from them yet. Google Podcasts, whatever you're listening to, you can't see what I'm doing. Also make sure you follow my Instagram. I'm Marvel 2K21. You can either do Nerdpool Reborn, another one of my pages. 6 seasons in a Netflix movie. That's my community page. As well as Nerdtooine and a Movie Podcast. You space, the little underscores in between each word. And of course, Nerdtooine on Whatnot, TikTok, and also on IG. Just search me out so you can definitely see because it's going to be fun. Regardless, whether or not I get pulled up on stage, I'm going to, show some of the concert and go live. So make sure you are doing that so you don't miss out on some great stuff. I have so much, I'm really close to probably getting to go to MegaCon as well. If I get to MegaCon, Kevin Conroy, the voice of the Batman from Batman animated series, my childhood right there. I'm going to be able to walk up to him and go, why, hello, Bruce. He's probably going to think Mark Hamill's there. But until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to me. And again, if you like what you heard, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And until next time, this is Nerdpool Prime, signing off.